the trial against the alleged mastermind in the Tshegofatso Pule murder case, that's Ntuthuko Shoba, will resume in the High Court sitting in Johannesburg today. Yesterday, the court heard from the first witness, Tshepiso Tsita, who's a friend of Pule. Tsita actually testified that at least 2 months before Pule's murder, the 28-year-old started receiving threats, essentially, from a woman telling her to leave Shoba alone. Our reporter, Linda Mnisi, has been watching the story since it first emerged. He's joining us now via our video link from just outside court. And Linda, of course, these details are important, at the very least, to try help the family pin together the moments leading up to this crime being committed and the role that Ntuthuko Shoba actually played in that moment.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting, and given the fact that the family has, of course, been very close to the story and making sure that they get regular updates. And these are not new details to them. You'll remember in the lower courts, we did hear of these plans. We did hear of, the meeting that was planned, but not only in the lower courts. You remember in the very same High Court, when Muzigaisa Malefane pleaded guilty, in his plea, he did also detail the fact that Ntuthuko Shoba had allegedly planned a meeting with a lady, an interview, an employment interview for Tshegofatso Pule, who was supposed to then go to this McDonald's in the south of Johannesburg, where she would then later, be picked up by Muzigaisa Malefane and take her to Ntuthuko Shoba at his very own flat. Now, these are details that are coming out in trying to piece together the story, perhaps in the days leading to Tshegofatso Pule's death. You'll also remember there's said to be another woman who also made threats, Tshepiso Tsita, who's the state's first witness, telling the court that this woman actually told Pule that she should leave her man and that she had HIV and that Tshegofatso needed to get tested. Now, so these are important details in trying to piece together the puzzle and finding out whether or not Ntuthuko Shoba could have been behind the killing of Ms. Pule.
Yeah, and Linda, what do we know, if anything, about this woman who was making threats, allegedly, to Tshegofatso Pule?
Well, her identity was not revealed, Ayanda. In fact, what we heard was the fact that Tshegofatso did make mention of this particular incident to Ntuthuko Shoba, who was shocked and asked for this woman's details. I mean, after that, what we heard was that she even went as far as blocking the number. But even with this said interview, she did not go because Tshepiso says they both felt uneasy about why anyone would organize an interview during hard lockdown. You'll remember it was in May 2020. Why would anyone, organize a meeting during the hard lockdown, the first hard lockdown, when restaurants were closed and there were no sit-ins in those restaurants? So that informed Tshegofatso's decision not to particularly go. But of course, they did indicate that they, were quite close to the story and, made sure that she didn't participate. And it's important also what she also said around, the relationship that Tshegofatso had with Ntuthuko. If you look at back in the lower courts, Ntuthuko actually mentioned that Muzigaisa Malefane may have been in a relationship with Tshegofatso Pule, but Tshepiso comes to court and debunks that and say that she was not aware of the relationship. There was no such thing. She's never seen Muzigaisa except for on TV, when of course he pleaded guilty. Also, the issue coming out, you remember the issue around the paternity of the baby and why the pregnancy was not taken to Ntuthuko Shoba's family. Tshepiso says there were two reasons. The first reason was that there was a burial at the family, and the second one was because Ntuthuko's father questioned the paternity of the baby and wanted DNA. She went as far as also speaking about the fact that Ntuthuko Shoba did not even attend Tshegofatso Pule's funeral. He did not even come during the week to sympathize with the family. But of course, Ntuthuko coming up with reasons why he did not show up at the funeral, saying that he had already received threats from the family, from the aunt and the brother. The aunt, in fact, is said to have said to Ntuthuko, "Suyitholile into oyifunayo," meaning you've gotten what you wanted.
Sure. And we've been told that Tshepiso is Pule's friend, but I wonder if the court spent any time detailing the nature of the relationship they had, at least in an attempt to try justify why Tshepiso's version of events are worth considering.
Well, we did go into, a few details. The court did try and get into a few details around their relationship and how far Tshepiso lived. Tshepiso said she's 25 years old, and you remember that Tshegofatso Pule at the time of the death was 28 years old, and they were quite close with Tshegofatso. In fact, she says the distance between where she lives and Tshegofatso Pule's house is a distance of about 2 minutes. So Ms. Pule would walk to her house, basically, and oftentimes they would share deep secrets, or not even deep secrets, but she had knowledge of what was happening on her cell phone. She had access to her messages, to her WhatsApp, as these would be, detailed to her. Even with the call, when the lady who organized this interview called, she was present. She said the lady put the phone, Tshegofatso rather, put the phone on speaker, and she could hear that she wasn't speaking, she was quiet, and later texted that she was sorry for calling with a private number. So the kind of relationship that is detailed goes even as far as her saying that she does know that Tshegofatso was in a relationship with Ntuthuko Shoba, but she also knows Ntuthuko in that Ntuthuko also dated her cousin.